Hey there, how are you? My name is Rebecca Leonardis, and this is the first of a series of what I'm calling Health Blasts. So I'm super excited that you're here with us. I am going to stream this into Facebook, and I am also going to go ahead and record. Okay, bear with me here just for a moment while we get this streaming into Facebook. Okay, we're just about there, friends. I'm really excited that you're going to be with me here today. We're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is sleep. Okay, I think we're good, guys. I think we might be live. Yeah, we're live. Okay, this is awesome. I'm so glad that you guys are here. So again, I'm Rebecca Leonardis. If we've yet to meet, I hope we do very soon. And if we're reuniting in this virtual space, I'm really glad that you're hanging out with me. This is the first of a series of what I'm calling health blasts. So they're not like the typical classes that I teach. These are meant to be really short and they're focused on a very specific topic. So today's topic is sleep, which happens to be one of my favorite topics to share because a third of our lives, as you guys know, is spent sleeping. And it's important that you're getting the quality of sleep that you deserve. So I am just finding my presentation here because you guys know by now I like to offer you something to look at as you're learning alongside me. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about sleep. Quantity and quality is really, really important. If you're deficient in either of those, you're going to want to lean in and listen to this. So the topic of sleep is as broad as it is deep. And while I love to speak on this topic, this health blast is designed really to pique your curiosity so that you can maybe take away one or two important nuggets, things that really resonate with you, and plug them into your life. Perhaps you can start as early as tonight and see how it begins to affect you. I believe, as do many health professionals, that sleep has actually surpassed food nutrition as well as exercise in terms of its value in promoting overall health and wellness. So it's really significant. Could you be sleeping better? I'm certain that a large majority of you who are watching would answer that question with a yes. So what I'm going to share with you today in a real quick amount of time is why sleep is so important, kind of what happens when we're sleeping, and how long should you actually be sleeping, and could you get a better quality of sleep. I'm going to offer you a few solutions to, like I said, you can pick one or two of the ideas that I have here for you and implement them tonight. The idea behind this is to leave you with a few takeaway, a few action steps that you'll implement. You'll measure how it works for you, or you'll practice them over time and see how it impacts your sleep over time. If you really commit to any one of these or a handful of them, I have no doubt that you will start to see improvement in your sleep and your quality of rest. So let's dive into this. So if you're not getting enough sleep, it is a big deal. If you're kind of one of those people who are like, you know what, I can go for days with 4 or 5 hours of sleep, I want to encourage you to reevaluate that thinking, because deprivation of sleep does have an impact on you over the long haul. In fact, if you're not getting enough sleep, one of the risks that you're imposing upon yourself is the risk of gaining weight. It's absolutely true. There was a study that was done. You can see it posted up here. It was 16 people were involved in a 5-day study. And over the course of those 5 days, the 16 people were allowed to sleep a maximum of 5 hours. So this is definitely a small scale study, but it really illustrates to you what can happen in a short period of time, because I know you've been sleep deprived for this length of time in the past, right? What ended up happening and what was noted was that those 16 participants over the course of 5 days on average gained 1.8 pounds. So that is, some of you may think that's not very much. That's 5 days. So imagine that extended over a longer period of time, and you can begin to multiply out what that effect would look like. So it is very important because obesity is a massive contributor to our overall health and wellness. In fact, obesity is increased by 55% in adults who are sleep deprived. And we know that being sleep deprived can cause a whole host of issues, but that's kind of a big one. We know that that extra weight can certainly contribute to a variety of issues. So I'm going to continue down this trail of sleep and weight gain, and now I'm going to talk just a little bit about appetite. What's actually happening when you sleep? So we know hormones are released in our bodies all day, every day at their appropriate time. I want you to know about 2 hormones. One is called ghrelin, which is released in the stomach, and that is usually released and signals to the brain that it is hungry. Okay, so it typically happens when the stomach is empty. The other hormone, which is its opposite, would be leptin, and that is the hormone that is released in the fat cells, and it communicates to the brain a sense of fullness. What happens when you're not sleeping, or even if you extend your bedtime, if you've ever stayed up later on a weekend, for example, maybe you're used to going to bed at 10 and perhaps you're staying up till 1 a.m., you might notice in those wee hours of the morning that you're actually getting hungry. This is completely natural, and it is absolutely a function of this hormone release. They literally get confused with one another, and because you're awake, that you're getting this missed signal to the brain that you're actually hungry because the stomach is empty at that hour. So be very mindful of this. This plays a huge role. Additionally, when you're not sleeping, I mentioned this before, it's signaling that I'm hungry signal. It also impairs your decision making. Your frontal lobe relies heavily on quality sleep. And when you deprive yourself of that, even over a short period of time, maybe 5 days or so, or a week, or even just a few days, maybe even a single night, you will notice that your decision-making capabilities are significantly diminished. Your cognitive function is not what it typically is. So where this is really noticeable, I'm gonna continue on that appetite trail. If you are up late and your hormones are being mixed up and confused and sending hungry signals to the brain, plus your decision-making capabilities have been diminished because you're sleep deprived, what kind of choices about food do you think you'll make to satisfy the hunger that you've incurred from staying up late at night? They probably won't be the best food decisions for you. You know, chips and things of that nature that don't really nourish the body, but certainly satisfy that need in the moment. In more serious situations, you know, the decision to drive when you're sleep deprived. You know, a lot of shift workers experience the symptoms of sleep deprivation, and these are real serious considerations as they relate to making decisions. When you are sleep deprived, this is kind of more on a subtle level, but I'm going to mention it anyways. We're talking about decisions. We talked about the fact that cognition is slow. But even if you're in a relationship with someone, have you ever had that urge that you should just sleep on it? Don't engage in that conversation, or don't respond to that email, or, you know, just kind of give yourself 12 to 24 hours to kind of think about things. That is certainly the right thing to do. Lean into your intuition telling you to sleep on it. Make a better choice when you've had an opportunity to rest. I know we've all been there before. Sleep deprivation and low quality of sleep can also cause the cells in your body to become insulin resistant. So it is most certainly a contributing factor for diabetes, which is one of our nation's most significant health crises. Without sleep, we're prone to inflammation in the body, which you might already know this, is the root cause of all illness and all disease. So inflammation is a serious consideration as it relates to your overall health and wellness. And this is all hinged to a good night of sleep. 90% of people, this is a big one for me, 90% of people who experience depressed feelings indicate they're not getting quality sleep. So sleep as it relates to mental wellness is a massive consideration. Look at that, 90% of people who are experiencing depressed feelings are also not getting a good night's sleep. So when we look at root causes and we look at opportunities to shift and improve in our health and wellness, the area of sleep deserves so much of our consideration. So are you getting enough sleep? So now we know some of, and I've only scratched the surface, as I mentioned, these health blasts are designed strictly to take us to the point and pique a little bit of curiosity so you can go digging into how this relates to your life. But let me ask this again, are you getting enough sleep? So the National Sleep Institute, you can Google it, they release information on this question fairly regularly. It is a constantly researched topic, but as it stands right now, the National Sleep Institute suggests that adults who are 18 plus, including the elderly, require 9 to 10 hours of sleep a night. So measure that up against what your daily sleep cycle looks like, and you can answer once and for all, are you getting enough? I want to offer you, in this short time that we're together, a few pro tips for a better night's sleep. And I can see that my picture is maybe blocking some of the slides, so I just moved it out of the way there for you. Tip number 1, create a sleep schedule. And I know that this sounds like work because it involves the word schedule, but I promise you it's the simplest thing. So you need to decide on a bedtime. And you're going to know when bedtime is right for you because either your body or your mind or both are going to feel tired. It's very important, if you're serious about altering or shifting or improving your sleep, that you're mindful of that feeling. So when you're tired, go to sleep. That will become your bedtime initially. Take note of what time that is. And it doesn't matter what time it is. We're all on different cycles. If you've heard of circadian rhythms before, all of our bodies are designed and wired to function on this 24-hour cycle. So you just need to identify what the appropriate bedtime for you is. Now, I also want you to take note of a second thing, that is your rise time. So if you're waking up currently with an alarm clock, that is not your natural rise time. Rise times are times that you naturally wake up feeling rested without an alarm clock. So if that is you, then great. But if it's not you yet, I'm going to get you to work on something over the next little while. This might take it can take as long as it needs to take. But if you need the alarm, then you need to set your bedtime back by 15 minutes. That's it, 15 minutes. And notice, are you able to wake up without the alarm yet? If the answer is no, then you set your bedtime back by another 15 minutes until you reach the point where your bedtime allows you to rise. Your rise time can occur naturally without that alarm clock. Okay, that's tip number 1, a sleep schedule. Let's move on to tip number 2, and that is to cut out alcohol and caffeine. It seems pretty obvious, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, because many of us enjoy a good cup of coffee, but did you know not everyone is able to digest those stimulating effects of caffeine as well as other people. So even if you're someone who just simply has your coffee in the morning, like so many of us do, 12 hours later, when it's time for you to be winding down, you might still be experiencing some of those stimulating effects. So give some consideration to eliminating it completely and just be mindful of how that changes your sleep cycle. It could be exactly what you're looking for. And there are some really nice caffeine-free alternatives. If you're curious about what those are, I can certainly share those with you. Alcohol. Alcohol is another one. Sometimes alcohol can trick us into feeling sleepy, and we almost, I know many people who rely on a nice glass of wine before they go to bed. It is perceived that that is what is calming them down and what is allowing them to go to sleep. It's absolutely not true. Alcohol offers a different type of sleep, a different type of rest, but you're not getting the quality of sleep that is absolutely necessary for you to be able to rise in the way that I know you want to rise and feel really good. You've probably noticed that if you've drank wine before bed, you've woken up, maybe it doesn't always happen, but oftentimes you'll think, I'm still tired. You're feeling the lingering effects of the alcohol. Because your body is busy digesting it, right? Alcohol turns into sugar in the body, and the sugar needs to be digested by the body. So it's busy working away at digesting that when it should really be working on its nighttime functions. Lessen liquids at night. This one is probably an obvious one. It doesn't mean stop drinking anything in the evening. It just means that you'll limit your need for bathroom breaks through the night if you're someone who notices that as part of your routine. Pro tip, the next pro tip for you is a big one in our house. We call it ditching the devices. It is so important in this day and age that we're mindful of this one. If you or anyone in your family has been struggling with sleep, I almost wonder if this one might be the first one that you try, because the blue light that is emitted from devices, so it's your phone, your iPad, even the smart TVs, that blue light is being absorbed through your eyes, through your retina, and it is actually affecting the production of melatonin in your body. Melatonin is necessary to promote that wind down and a good night's sleep. So we're compromising our ability just by spending time on our device. So the advice is this: ditch the device at least an hour before you're ready to go to bed. Watch this with your kids and you will notice a big difference. If they're using bedtime as a time to connect with friends because it's relaxing, you're going to have to shift away from that and find an alternative, at least within that 1 hour window before bedtime. And I promise you, you will notice a difference on that. The TV too, turn that off. If you're using your device, if you're using your phone as an alarm clock, my advice to you would be to put it on airplane mode. Okay. The best advice is to keep it out of your bedroom completely. But if you have to have it near you because you rely on it, then putting it on airplane mode is the next best thing. Pro tip, I don't know what number we're at, but the next pro tip is to create a great sleep space for yourself. So what does that mean? It's pretty simple. And if you practice this, or if you take note of whether or not your bedroom is designed for a good night of sleep, you'll begin to appreciate these very simple tips. We know these things. We know them, but sometimes we need a little bit of a refresh. And when we're not feeling optimally, it can be as simple as dialing it back to one of these key pillars of health, which in this conversation is sleep. In my opinion, the most important pillar of health. So you're going to want a cool, dark room. Very important. I also want you to consider sound and smell. So if you're someone who likes the sound, like that white noise kind of sound, you might enjoy putting one of those, I don't even know what they're called. Noisemakers, Homedics makes them, but you can have the sound of birds chirping, or you can just have the sound of like a staticky kind of sound. Lots of people appreciate sound as they're falling asleep, so there are many options for you. As it relates to smell, you guys know I'm an essential oils lover, so putting an aroma into the diffuser a little bit before bedtime creates like an amazing atmosphere. And not only that, but it also, the usage of the diffuser creates sound. So I love the fact that you can accomplish both just by using a diffuser. My tips to the diffuser are to use something that has a constituent in it called linalool, which slows the central nervous system down and allows for a great night of sleep. you don't have to remember that name, but I'm going to suggest to you, you consider lavender, or in doTERRA we have the blend Serenity, cedarwood, bergamot. There's a variety that you can choose from. So based on your personal preferences, we can certainly find something that works really well for you. And then you get the smell and the sound, because that diffuser just makes that sort of gentle gurgling kind of sound. The next tip I'm going to offer to you might be something brand new to you. I remember when my naturopath told me about alternate nostril breathing for the first time, I thought it was totally wackadoodle. Like, it just seemed so strange to me. It's like I would laugh as I was doing it. But as I've practiced it over the past few years, I've really come to realize that it is magnificent, and it does exactly what it's intended to do. When we focus on our breath, we're giving our brain a focal point, and we're allowing the central nervous system to calm itself. And we're doing that with no outside tools, so it's easily accessible, it's completely free, and it's completely within your power. You don't have to set up anything special to be able to activate this really amazingly effective technique. I'm going to demonstrate it for you just so you know what it is, but certainly feel free beyond this conversation to Google it and just type in alternate nostril breathing. You'll find all kinds of YouTube videos or blogs on the benefits of this. It's a really great practice. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to block one nostril. You'll breathe in through that nostril, then you will plug that nostril that you just breathed in, and you will exhale out the opposite nostril. Then you'll breathe in through that same nostril, you'll block it, breathe out through the opposite. Breathe in, block it, breathe out, breathe in, block it, breathe out, breathe in. Practice that yourself. Maybe watch a YouTube video, or just, you know what, just practice it. Trust yourself. It's not a complicated thing. It takes a little bit of practice. The best thing to do is to use your thumb and your index finger. And as you practice, becomes very easy when you use those two fingers. This is a practice I guarantee will create the focus that calms the body. Give it a try. I'd love to hear your feedback on that. So as I mentioned, it calms the central nervous system down, which is precisely what we're looking to do. Slow our body system so that we can fall into a deep, quality, restful sleep. Now, I also want to mention to you, this is another pro tip, pressure points. So this, again, very easy, accessible, something that you can do. You don't need tools and you don't need any money for this. You're going to locate all kinds of pressure points in your ear. If you're having a hard time relaxing, I've taught this to my kids. You're just going to gently massage your ear all the way from the lobe up to the tip and all the way back down. You decide on the amount of pressure that you like. And if you want to take it up a notch, put a little bit of lavender or cedarwood on your fingertips and massage that in. Really activate those pressure points and create a super sense of relaxation by doing this. So that's another one for you. Mantras. Again, this might be something that's so new to you. And what I want to suggest to you is, if you're going to take one or two, or maybe you're going to choose to try all of these, be gentle with yourself. Offer yourself enough grace to know that you won't try it once and experience the benefits. You're going to need to practice it over time. Mantra is using sound to create relaxation and focus. Okay, so mantra is the repetition of a very short phrase, something that resonates with you, and it's your voice repeating it over and over and over again. Now, you can say this out loud, you can whisper it to yourself, or you can simply think it and experience the benefits of it. You can Google and look up mantras that, you know, sort of have a nice feeling for you. And that's the one I would encourage you to begin with. I'm going to offer you 10 here in a moment. You can take one of those and practice with it tonight. Or even if you experience maybe anxious moments throughout the day and you need to calm yourself, I want you to consider using mantra, the pressure points, the breath work. All of these are perfect for creating an atmosphere of calm for you. So while it's great for sleep, let's also consider other moments throughout the day as well. Let me share the mantras with you. There's several to choose from. Choose the one that you feel something when you hear it. I'm going to say each of them for you. My mind is calm and my body is relaxed. I am at peace. I am calm and my body is still. I welcome sleep into my being. Let it be. I am becoming more relaxed with every breath. Around me and within me, I find stillness. I am grateful for this time to rest. I choose peace. Rest, release, relax is what that's supposed to say. Rest, release, relax. Or whatever you choose for it to be. You can create your own mantra. These were just a few thought starters for you, because if you've never thought of mantra before, you might not have any idea what I'm talking about. So I hope that points you in the right direction. Meditation. Meditation is something that's talked about a lot in our society these days. And there's a false impression that meditation is something that, you have to work at clearing your mind. The only thing I'm really going to say about meditation is that it is worth you pursuing. I have a sleep meditation I would love to share with you. If you're interested, you just reach out and let me know and I'll send that to you. You can give it a listen. You can also take a look at some tools that are available through the App Store or through Google. One that I love is called Calm, but I know that there's another one called Headspace, and there's a variety of free tools that offer guided meditations that you might really connect with. So give them a look and see what you think. They don't cost a lot, they're easily accessible, and meditation is just not about clearing your mind. In fact, it is impossible to completely clear your mind. You are wired to be digesting the things, the thoughts, the occurrences throughout your entire day. It's being mindful of those thoughts. That's really what meditation is. So I'll leave that with you, and I'll encourage you to reach out to me and request that sleep meditation if that is something that interests you. I'm going to wrap things up for you now, because you might be watching this on your lunch break, and I want to make sure you've got time to do whatever else is part of your typical routine. Let's wrap things up. We talked about the breathing technique, so you may want to dive in and take a look at an alternate nostril breathing. We talked about mantra, using your voice or sound in a repetition to create relaxation and a focal point for your brain. We talked about meditation. We've also mentioned loosely oils. I mean, anytime I share anything with you, please know that I infuse oils into literally everything that I do. So if I'm going to spend time meditating or using pressure point, release, any of those kinds of things, I'm going to look to amplify the effects by adding essential oils. I feel like an aromatic experience has such a direct connection to everything happening in the brain that it for me is an absolute no-brainer that I integrate it. So again, just a reminder on the oils that I feel are really useful in creating a relaxed environment and leading to sleep. It's lavender as my number one choice. Bergamot, cedarwood, there's a beautiful blend called Serenity. Those are all some considerations that you could think about. But if you've never used oil and you want to find out a bit more about it first, connect with me and let me know that. Maybe we can set you up with a sample if you've never tried it before, or we can talk about what protocols would be best for you specifically. We talked about a sleep schedule. So that's kind of your takeaway for tonight. Start being mindful of your bedtime and your rise time. And last but not least, I want to suggest to you, we talked about your room needing to be cool and dark, because that supports the body's natural rhythm, so the circadian rhythms that we talked about before. It is also equally important when you wake to let in the light. So open your blinds, go into a room or step outside, whatever you can do to alert the mind and the body that it is time to wake up. This has a profound effect on the entire cycle and brings you full circle. So I hope that you have found some of these tips to be useful. These health blasts, as I mentioned, were designed just to give you some high-level tips and explore specific topics. When you decide that these are useful for you, I'm going to give you a couple of pointers. I will be streaming them live into this Facebook group. So certainly invite people that you know who enjoy learning these kinds of things. If you are not always on social media, because I encourage all of you to not always be on social media, you can go to my website, which is www.leotree.com. I want you to look for events. You'll see Health Blasts. You can register for Health Blasts, and then you get messages reminding you that there's a Health Blast happening, okay? And the recordings will be posted on YouTube. So if you miss anything, you can either catch it here in the Facebook group, or you can catch it as a recording on my YouTube channel. Okay, so I certainly hope to see you again in the future. These will run every Wednesday and Friday at noon, and I can't wait to see you guys back here again. Have a great day until we see one another again. I wish you health and happiness. Take care, everyone.